听到丈夫要离开，女人非但没有生气，反而一脸的期待，还说只要是对方想要的，她都会无条件支持。看完这部片子，我才知道，原来好的电影真的能改变一个人爱情观，甚至能让人在看完后明白，怎样的爱人才是真正的在爱你。在这之前，莎莉只是一个没有学历，更没有什么亮丽的工作经验的女士演。然而生活越是这样平平无奇，她心里就越是向往挑战。一直以来，莎莉都渴望能成为一名新闻主持人。为了梦想能被实现，她特意录了一段视频，并寄给了将近50家电视台。本以为不会有任何回应，但迈阿密的一间电视台却来信让她去报道。为此，莎莉果断辞去了试映一职，只身一人前往了那个繁华都市。初来乍到，向来自信十足的她却突然感到有些忐忑。或许是不适应这么快节奏的工作环境，也可能是担心自己没经验没学历会被看不起。恍惚间，一个叫沃伦的男人喊住了她，对方是电视台里的台长。莎莉紧紧地跟着在男人身后，由于不熟悉路况，她险些摔倒在地出洋相，而走在前头的沃伦一直在喊她甜心快跟上。对于这个称呼，莎莉显然很不喜欢。
Sally, not sweetheart.
Got it. Vic, Sally.
莎莉的直率令沃伦不禁觉得这新人还挺有趣的。就在他与同事谈话的间隙，莎莉环顾着办公室里的陈设，墙上挂着对方曾采访过的总统的合照，还有那些在战时地区的照片。她心里不禁对这个男人多了一份崇拜。刚刚的不悦瞬间烟消云散。随后沃伦提醒莎莉，在直播室时他们通常是不佩戴工作卡的。莎莉当即就要脱下工作卡，却一不小心勾住了手带的拉链，东西瞬间散落一地。她急忙蹲下收拾，恰巧在这个时候同事们走了进来。初次见面，莎莉给人的印象并不理想。当她主动提出自己随时可以上岗工作时，沃伦没有说话，而是播放了他当初投递来的那卷视频带，似乎在说，你的经验里作为一名要时常出镜的主持人来说，还是远远不够的。莎莉自然明白个中的意思，她不卑不亢地给予了回应。
I'm going to learn it.
Noted. Meanwhile, you answer the phones, work the database, get the reporters what they need, addresses, numbers, who, what, when, where. Oh, and you see that Mr. Coffee machine over there? I like it strong.
刚开始，莎莉被安排先从秘书做起，以此来熟悉工作流程。正如所许诺的一样，她的工作态度非常认真，并没有因为总被吩咐做些不起眼的小事而有所怨言。她始终坚信，只要努力，随着时间的推移，自己在新闻行业上肯定可以有所突破的。当得知台里最近辞走了一位天气主持人后，她立马就跑到沃伦面前主动请缨。然而结果并不如愿，沃伦认为她不是合适人选。第二天，莎莉再次尝试自荐，还谎称自己曾为老家小镇播报过天气预报。不仅如此，她还保证自己能兼任秘书与主持人这2份工作。重点是，她不需要加薪。
Meet our new weather person.
Really? Really?
沃伦还是同意了，他欣赏她的积极。然而到了将要上台时，从未真正试过直播的莎莉感到非常紧张，紧张到躲在厕所里出不来，嘴里还不停地嘀咕着想要放弃的话。
Then don't do it. You don't have to do it.
Yes, I do.
What?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
终于，莎莉重新鼓起了勇气走进演播厅。然而由于缺乏经验，她面对镜头时总是眼神漂浮不定的，甚至在听到耳机里沃伦的指导时，会下意识地瞧向对方的方向。这是直播的大忌。
Don't look at me. Look at the camera.
显然，莎莉的表现并不理想。老板也忍不住向沃伦吐槽道：“他这回真的是看走眼了。”同事们也忍不住在一旁嘲笑挖苦。莎莉感到无比的羞愧，转头便急匆匆地逃离了。这是她的第一次受挫。晚上，沃伦不请自来，本意其实是想要给予鼓励的，然而莎莉却误以为对方来是想羞辱自己。她也不想继续藏着掖着，干脆一不做二不休，直接坦白了自己根本没录制过节目的真相，说上过大学也是假的，她读的只不过是一间业务媒体夜校罢了。对此，沃伦并不感到惊讶，其实他早就已经调查过这些，只是没戳破而已。
You think I didn't check it out?
So fire me.
Figure if you're hungry enough to fake it, you might be hungry enough to do it. The weather is not going to work.
You don't think I know
Come
that?
across on camera. You made a save. I'm giving you a shot as a reporter. That's what I came by to tell you.
沃伦并没有像预料中的那样辞退莎莉，相反的，他还给出了又一次的机会。因为看到莎莉对新闻行业的积极性，他不想就此放弃这个新人。通过沃伦的耐心指导，他掌握了许多关于采访时的要点，面对镜头时也是越来越自然了。在一次突发事件上，得知原本负责这个采访的记者不能及时赶到时，他二话不说就赶了过去，恳求沃伦同意由他来进行。也正是这次机会，彻底改变了他在所有人眼里那呆若木鸡的形象。虽然前1分钟还在风中凌乱不知所措，但到了正式开机，莎莉立即就能平静且带有感情地念出一段又一段的台词，这让沃伦瞬间眼前一亮。
Yes. Girl's got chops.
Thank you.
Wondering if you could save it.
沃伦偶遇到了他的前妻莎莉，在得知对方这个身份后，心里不自觉地感到有些嫉妒。晚上，趁着剪辑室里只有他们2个人，他忍不住询问起沃伦为什么会离婚。
Thought I was a Capitol Hill insider, which at the time I was. We were a cute couple on the Sunday shows for a while. But being around in the morning isn't my long suit.
二人顺势谈起了各自的家庭，随着交流的深入，彼此间的了解似乎已不知不觉地超越了原本的上下属关系。莎莉在镜头前的用心，以及藏在镜头背后的对事实真相的渴望，令沃伦不禁对她产生了某种情愫。也许不是特别的钟爱，可能只是特别的好奇。然而好奇往往是多种感情的发端。对视上的瞬间，气氛瞬间变得有些暧昧不明。随着一通电话的响起，这份微妙就此被打断。莎莉在接完电话后便表示自己需要离开几天。
Something wrong?
No, nothing's wrong.
But you have to take some days off.
It's personal, okay?
回家后的她发现妹妹被男友骗走了所有积蓄，如今连最基本的房租都已付不起。为了解决燃眉之急，莎莉给公司发去了传真，打算预支工资。然而她的不辞而别，在同事们眼里是一种不负责任的表现。但沃伦依然相信她。为了一探究竟，他决定前往莎莉老家寻找答案。就在莎莉硬着头皮跟房东谈判拖延租金时，沃伦出现，不但主动帮忙付清了所有的欠租，还给足了面子，谎称自己只是刚好来这边出差，然后又这妖巧发生了偶遇。可明眼人都知道他只是在顾及莎莉的自尊心而已。对此，莎莉不仅不领情，还自顾自地谴责对方在多管闲事。
Look, you asked for cash, I provided it. Over and out.
You provided it. What exactly do you take me for?
Wait a minute.
No, wait a minute. You come here and you spread bills around like you picked me up in some bar off Fremont Street in front of that asshole. You have no business here.
Hold a minute. Hold on. You work for me. You announce you're taking off. You forget about the part of it's okay with me. You shoot off a fax demanding cash. I'm not allowed to
Oh, and
wonder
you
why.
figured you'd do me this big favor and I'd owe you.
Well, that was my mistake.
Every girl I grew up with ended up thinking she owed some guy. Luann was
This doesn't interest me.
望着此刻歇斯底里的莎莉，沃伦没有驳斥，而是静静地听对方宣泄情绪。得知对方是为了妹妹才突然离开后，心里对这个顾家的女孩又有了新的认识。冷静下来过后，莎莉也意识到自己实在是太过分了。
I need another couple of days to make sure she's all right. If that's okay with you.
It's perfectly okay with me.
转眼间过去了几个月，此时的莎莉在工作上已经是轻车熟路，与沃伦之间的关系也是逐渐趋于正向。然而意外这种事说来就来，市里通过电视台举办了一个捐赠活动，新年当天第一个出生的婴儿将会获赠全年的所需物品。然而由于那个孩子的生父是囚犯，以及生母是未婚生育，赞助商在现场直播中通过男主持人来通知，临时决定更换了捐赠对象，这让莎莉十分不满。他不管此事镜头还在直播中，当场呼吁赞助商应该信守承诺。
Spirit of the new year and the whole idea of firstborn, I'm sure WMIA would be delighted to honor Miami's true firstborn, Fernandito Butanda.
She can't do that. She just did it.
他的自作主张立即引起了老板的不满。
He has no right. To what? Tell the truth or change copy to something safe?
Warren, you know as well as I do she's off the reservation, and it's up to you to
What, rope her in? Cut her down to size, Dan? What size do you want her? Your size?
虽然沃伦在背后赞同他的做法，但他还是不得不警告莎莉，在镜头面前必须时刻谨言慎行。作为一名主持人，是不可以随意按照自己意愿发言的。两人因此发生了第一次的争吵。
I'm the one who has to get it through my head.
This is a team!
But I'm not part of the team, am I? Because no matter what I do, I will always be written off as the news director's protege. So, fine. I am perfectly capable of finding a job where I am nobody's protege.
偶然间的一次机会，他结识到了一个叫马克的经纪人，对方专为大城市里的电视台物色合适的记者。在得知莎莉有意跳槽后，马克便引荐她去费城的第4大电视台。就这样，莎莉获得了在更大的平台工作的机会。殊不知，这其实依然是沃伦在背后推波助澜。几天前，是他拜托前妻在马克面前提及莎莉是个不错的女主持，前妻看出了他的心思。倘若只是简单的同事关系，这男人是绝对不会为了谁付出甚多的。
You're gonna go with her when she makes her move?
沃伦说不清，或许是被莎莉身上那份独有的执着打动，也可能是对方像极了以前的自己，但他还是决定了主动放手，因为他知道自己的羽翼只会让莎莉感到难堪。在离开之前，莎莉找到了沃伦，除了是要感谢对方一直以来的培养，更是想要坦白心意。
I guess it's even the right time. We had some fun, you and I, didn't we?
What is it you want? You know what I want.
You want to go to Philadelphia?
沃伦知道莎莉到底要什么，莎莉又何尝不明白他想要什么呢？两人都欲成为最真实、最优秀的新闻工作者，都有自己想要坚守的阵地。就在这晚，莎莉主动亲吻了沃伦，沃伦也有所回应，双方心里明亮的像镜子。走的人为什么走，留的人为什么留？但至于这段感情该何去何从，他 他们始终小心翼翼地不再深入讨论。在要启程离开的那天，莎莉坦言希望沃伦能跟自己一起前往费城发展，以他的实力，绝对能有更大的作为。沃伦当然清楚这一点，然而像费城这样的大城市根本不会有哪间电视台愿意聘请他，因为几年前的一次重大错误，他早就被录入了黑名单。两人依依不舍的道别，然而离别其实是为了更好的相逢。离开了光环保护的莎莉毫无疑问地陷入了困境。来到费城上班的第一天，台里女主播就给了她一个下马威，不仅眼里对她时刻充满了藐视，还总会在会议中反复打断她的说话，质疑她搜集的每一条新闻。慢慢的，莎莉开始变得没有自信，在外采访时要看着小纸条才能完整的报道。不仅如此，女人还会在莎莉说完台词后加以抨击，以此来让她落入尴尬无措的境地。
But don't you think, Tally, that statistics can seem, in the face of real human outrage, worse than irrelevant?
不久后，老板带来了随机抽取的观众的反馈，大部分人都不喜欢莎莉。老板希望莎莉能尽快做出改变，言下之意，倘若继续这样，她将面临被辞退。至此，莎莉逐渐失去了自我，变得非常在意别人对自己的评价，每日都活在别人的言论和阴影下。也正是在这样的处境下，她意识到过去的自己原来是沃伦创造出来的。离开对方，她竟好像无法自力更生。但作为坚强的女性，她深深地把内心的情感掩藏起来，与沃伦通话时从不把这些困难告知。
You okay? Anything I can do?
No, everything's great. It's just that I wanted to say hi.
Hi.
Bye.
眼看到了快要被解雇的境地，马克找到了沃伦。原来二人以前也是关系甚好的哥们。马克把莎莉一直被排除在外的事给说了，他知道这个时候就只有沃伦这位师傅能帮助对方。
This isn't about you and me. She's in trouble. Think it over.
第二天，沃伦便来到了费城，看见心心念念的情人，莎莉开心极了。甜蜜相聚过后，沃伦仔细研究了莎莉最近录制的节目，随即很直白地指出了所在问题。
Who the hell is this? What the hell happened to you? Where's Telly Atwater?
You tell me. You should know. You invented her.
Well, I did one lousy job. You come up here, you take one look at Marcia McGrath's Uptown Eastern Act, and you fold. If I was into inventing people, believe me, I would have invented somebody a hell of a lot tougher than you turned out to be.
I am exactly the way you made me. Do it this way, do it that way, do it my way until I don't even know how to do it without you.
Bullshit. I dressed you, I pointed you toward the camera, but you did it. You told the story, and you know how to do it, and you're going to start doing it on your own.
I asked you how long you could stay, and you said long enough. How long is that? When we're not together.
Everything shuts down.
在莎莉撒娇般的恳求下，沃伦向迈阿密那边申请了很长的一段假期，留在他身旁。只是二人都没有意识到的是，这一假一请就没有了回头路。在沃伦的帮助下，莎莉重新找回自己的定位，很快就在之后的采访中做出了调整。再后来，他惊讶地发现原来的摄影同事从迈阿密来到了费城，昔日合拍的搭档终于可以再度合作。莎莉非常开心，但这其实依然是沃伦的功劳。为了能让莎莉更快地在新环境中独立起来，他找到马克牵线挖人。随着莎莉在工作中的表现越来越好，观众对两位女主持人多了许多比较与调侃，这让一直嚣张得很的女人十分不爽，找到老板讨说法，话里话外都在含沙射影。
A broadcast with which I am identified and for which I am responsible. And she makes my broadcast, and by extension me, the object of vulgar innuendo.
The object is not you, it's me.
眼看莎莉不是好惹的，担心地位不保的女人干脆离开了电视台。其实她早就提前找好了下家。就这样，这场职场上的内斗，莎莉赢了，她的个人海报被挂在了直播间，成为了台里的代言人。可有人欢喜有人愁，因为离开太久，沃伦失去了迈阿密的工作，他也决定干脆留在费城发展，便开始偷偷的找工作。可过去的失误似乎是一道无法越过的坎，他四处碰壁。期间，莎莉从沃伦前妻那了解到，7年前令沃伦工作发生重大失误的那个人，其实就是他的前妻。
Warren and I had a deal. I did what I had to do, he did what he had to do. Never dreamed for a minute he'd buy that story.
But he did.
Yeah, he did. In the overall scheme of things, it shouldn't have mattered, but it did matter because the network was looking for an excuse, and now they had an excuse. They saw him as a wild card to begin with. They got him to sit down at lunch at 21 with Buford Sells. Buford Sells put it to him, play it the network's way or take the highway, and our Warren took the highway. Buford used to be his best friend. So you see, it took a lot for him to ask you for a job.
又因为求真务实，沃伦被迫了放弃自己最热爱的政治领域。这种遗憾，同样志同道合的莎莉十分理解。她随即找到了经纪人巴克， 恳求对方帮助沃伦牵线留在费城。在他的软磨硬泡下，对方助力沃伦如愿回到了他曾无比热爱的电视台，与莎莉一起并肩战斗，之间的默契度也是越来越高。期间，莎莉有了想要结婚的念头，她主动说出了这个想法。
Marry me.
I've been married. Twice. Bad idea. Twice.
I want you around in the morning.
You already have me around in the morning. How? I don't know what you do.
I want to know you're legally required to be there.
不久后，相爱的两人举行了婚礼仪式，在亲友们的注视下步入了婚姻的殿堂。然而，平淡的生活下总是会有一些波澜。在关于监狱改革的新闻采访上，老板与沃伦起了争执。
This kind of shit? You think I even wanted this project?
John?
She wanted it. You know, you talk about what you want. She's the one who's out there on the line, and the only reason she's out there is to give you something to do.
Actually, I've got something to do.
气愤的沃伦直接摔门而出，转头便打电话给早些时候想让他去巴拿马做战地记者的老板。为了陪伴莎莉，他当时就果断拒绝了这个机会。如今费城这边的轻视令他决定去实现自己的价值。与此同时，前往监狱采访的莎莉遇到了危险，犯人们的暴乱令他与同事陷入了僵局。知晓此事后的沃伦迅速掉头赶往了现场，他试图联系被困在里面的莎莉，可过去了1个小时了，依然还是毫无音讯。直到晚上，无线信号才终于恢复。听到沃伦的声音，莎莉这才稍稍松了一口气。
Okay, you've got one thing going for you. You've got the camera. Whatever you do, do it on air. It's the only weapon you've got. You're their chance to tell the world what's going on in there. Use the camera.
I'm not on air!
They don't know that. Before they do, you will be.
当现场直播一打开，莎莉勇敢地拿着麦克风采访着那些正参与暴乱的囚犯，这很快就引起了世界各地的观众们的关注。所有电视台都陆续跟踪和报道这一新闻。当监狱长在外面露面宣布一切都在掌控中时，他立马就接话狠狠地打了对方的脸。
We're getting word that the situation there is under control.
You're feeding live, Tal. National.
Well, it's under control, Tom, but the inmates have
Which inmates?
control. Or, more accurately, one group of inmates has control.
此时的莎莉已然憔悴不堪，但身处混乱中的她在面对镜头时仍然临危不乱。沃伦则在电脑上打出一些关键词和要点，他们就如同心有灵犀一般。这一刻，沃伦发现莎莉已经平等地站在自己身边了。她是一名卓越的记者，更是一位能与自己背对背的战友。随着让人心慌的打砸声，莎莉与同事被打倒在地，信号也再次中断，这让沃伦很是焦虑不安，自责妻子遇到危险，自己却无能为力。在煎熬中过了10个小时后，防暴部队才冲了进监狱，成功制服了所有犯人。画面一转，刚还略显狼狈的莎莉此刻淡定从容地站在了监狱门口，再次进行着那未完待续的报道，直接说出了这场暴乱的导火索是由于那些高官议员们为了顺利进行选举，从而故意压榨监狱囚犯的合法权利。望着眼前这个不卑不亢、敢对不公说不的妻子，沃伦深感自豪。报道一结束，看似坚强不屈的莎莉在看到爱人后就再也绷不住，她紧紧地抱着对方哭泣，宣泄着藏在内心中的惊慌。新闻很快就轰动了各地，莎莉也由此开启了她人生新篇章，成为了费城最有名的新闻女记者。她的无畏除了影响着众多观众，还直接令沃伦受到了鼓舞，重新点燃了他那股湮灭已久的憧憬。他坚决要远赴战地去挖掘巴拿马的新闻，这不是赌气，而是梦想。
But it can't be me putting wine on ice while you wrap up the evening news. And it can't be you turning down a story because you don't want to leave me at loose ends.
You really want this?
You made me want it.
虽然很不舍，但莎莉还是非常支持沃伦的决定，因为她知道这是枕边人的心之所向。看着在别的国度进行着报道的沃伦，莎莉替对方感到满满的成就感。蓬头垢面的外表背后其实是一种极致的享受，但她怎么也不会想到，这次的交谈将会是2人最后一次的谈话。随着突然播报的紧急新闻得知，沃伦不幸在战区中受伤并去世了。莎莉不敢相信这是真的，不愿承认影响着自己、改变着自己的丈夫竟就这样没了。沃伦虽然离开了，但他在前线掌握的信息成为了年度最受关注的新闻，这给电视台带来了巨大的影响。莎莉本人也获得了当年最受欢迎的主持人奖项。在领奖前，她在后台看到了沃伦生前接受采访的视频，听到了一些丈夫从未对自己说过的话。
So she walks into my office that first day in Miami. Skinny, got all the clothes. Not much going for her, wanting to be anybody but herself. And I make her get my shirts, and I make her get the coffee. I shoot down all of her stories. She was tougher than me. She was already something. She was already the sun and the moon, all by herself.
在故事的最后，伤心男人的莎莉擦了擦脸上的泪水，然后缓缓走到领奖台的中央，努力整理了情绪后发表了感人的获奖感言。过去的他是为了个人荣誉和成功而努力挖掘新闻，但经历了这么多，如今的他明白到，作为一名媒体工作者，只有一个使命，那就是传递最真实的新闻。
I'm only here for one reason. To tell the story. My husband told me that, not so long ago.
电影《因为你爱过我》，它虽然不是大团圆结局，但正因如此，它才会打动我们。如现实生活一样，不是任何故事都会是圆满结局，它总是多变且崎岖的。每个人每件事的出现，或许都有它存在或离开的意义，给我们挫折，令我们难堪，让我们成长，使我们强大。相比于过程中的获得，似乎结局如何一点也不重要。